So they were, as you say, smart enough to change it from one computer to another, which
as soon as it
kept the metadata and the date and everything fine on this one. They changed it over here, but they didn't.
And you can hack the metadata, but obviously they don't know how to do it because the metadata is what's right.
Right. And you know they're still under I believe they're still on Insight.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
I looked at it, and
and
there's also typos on the website.
Oh, there's a lot of.
Like, oh my God, and I was doing the website for a while, and it was like perfect. I was going in and fixing all that stuff.
Oh, it's well, I didn't bring any of that stuff with me. Yeah, I took some pictures last night, especially on their webpage under paratransit. They admit it right there. Paratransit is a corridor of a fixed route, 3/4 of a mile off either side, and paratransit follows that 3/4. However, we will continue to pick up qualified people outside of the corridor, blah, blah, blah. And that's to cover Helen Price Johnson's behind, because that cut all the routes down in Langley. So they were sending paratransit down there to pick up Helen Price Johnson's select paratransit people, but the problem was they were driving past other paratransit clients and not picking them up and not affording them a ride. So they're huge.
Strange.
Oh, it's huge. For the ADA laws and that. And
that's another thing I did for them was I did those kiosks for them. Did all the programming for those. I did and I did the programming on the website.
Yeah.
Judd didn't know how to do that. For the paratransit because they were starting to be doing online payments.
Yeah.
So I did all the research for that.
Yeah.
And made sure everything was all legal and everything worked right. And I worked with that one lady in paratransit, Julie. Yeah, that. Or no, that's Vanpool. I'm getting confused. I did the software for the paratransit, but the Vanpool, I did the online payment thing for.
Yes, because they still, as a matter of fact, one of the things that concerns me with the online Vanpool payment, over the years, especially recently, Martha has held, and Helen Price Johnson, hold meetings on the South End and that. And this is what sickens me, plays upon the senior citizens, plays upon the senior citizens, and the ADA saying that services are going to have to be cut, and if they would like to make a donation. Not just out there asking these people who can't put $1 in the box over here, but she's asking them for donations so that they can continue to run the paratransit. She was also seeking putting signs on the 411 West bus from Camino to Mount Vernon after she supposedly made the cuts authorized by the Washington State Department of Transportation Secretary Lynn Peterson. She was saying that the 411 and 412 people, if they make donations, maybe they could get that route going a little bit more. And I'm like, where are all these donations? Because I've been through all your financials, and I don't see donations in here anywhere. And so I question the online payment method especially because of paratransit, and it just upsets me that.
It's going to Martha's vacation fund.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's terrible. I just have to make a little joke here and there.
She's got a lot of vacation, so it's got to be a big fund.
Yeah.
Which the Washington State Patrol is
almost
done with their criminal investigation, so hopefully we'll be getting some of that pretty soon, and then the feds can come swooping in.
Well, that's another thing is that, Martha basically, she was supposed to be going to conferences, and I know a couple times that she was gone longer than she was supposed to be gone, but she was not where she was supposed to be. She would go and, I'd be like, well, how was it how was it over there? And she goes, oh yeah, I visited my sister. And I'm like, I thought you were supposed to be going to a conference.
Well, as the auditors hit her on their exit interview, they, Martha Rose's executive calendar said she was at this conference for 3 weeks. However, flight records show that she was only in the same location as the conference for 2 days. And then there's this one where, same thing, calendar and everything shows that she was here, you know, for 10 days. Flight records indicate she was only in that same location, you know, for 2 days, you know, something like that. But I can guarantee you, let's just say, in the words of Martha, I am confident that if they found that with Martha Rose, they're going to find that with the other management staff. Same thing with them bringing travel buddies with them, you know, and...
Well, I'm so glad that they're actually getting a union now so that they can't yank people around quite so bad.
Exactly, and that they're still trying to... They're still trying everything they can right now until the union's actually in there and solid. And
you know, if they treated people well, you know, there's a lot of places that the union can't get into because the people are already treated so well that there is no reason for a union.
Exactly, exactly. My thing though was that in all this other stuff is there's a couple lawsuits out there, you know, with unions, especially when it comes to this group. This interlocal web that community transit, island transit, WSTIC, Washington State Transportation Insurance. They all have these personnel manuals and rules and regulations saying that they're an at-will employer. When actually, I believe it was Smith versus Transit, Ninth Circuit judge upheld a one-line disclaimer. And this had to do with Island Transit's personnel manual, saying that that actually is there's no at-will language in here, so therefore employers can't always be held accountable for what's inside their personnel policy manuals. And it goes on to say, you know, some other stuff. So basically, she holds everybody accountable to a manual, a couple manuals.
And if it doesn't, if there's nothing in there about it at the time, they just whip it in there real quick and then they keep the same creation.
Yeah, I'd love to see the metadata on that.
Yeah, I would too. Well, you know, I find it interesting that if you don't turn in your old one, they charge you for it.
Exactly.
It's like, are they trying to hide that they've changed it so much? Or I don't understand that exactly.
And that's it, so you can't compare.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go page by page to compare.
It's like I can see if they want the binder back to save money, but not the pages. They want the pages back too.
Oh yeah, because
so it's like, well, I'll give you the binder. No, and we need the pages too.
Yep, and that's it. It's there's so much wrong in there, and that's I mean, not just with basically the whole entire manual is superfluous.
So there may be a good reason for that. Maybe we're barking up the wrong tree, but I don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But with all the lawsuits that I'm seeing going on, I'm also concerned with, you know, the way that they treat the union rep on the board, you know, and stuff like that. So it's going to be it's still a complete struggle. It's a fight. They're you know, they won't give. That's what I was saying about the manual. Oh, but the drug-free workplace, you know, that's all messed up. They say military leave, you know, being recalled for like the 2 weeks or whatever. You know, and I can't off the top of my head, would say Martha Rose's manual interpretation of federal law says no more than 10 days and you don't receive pay. So where federal law is up to 21 days with pay. You know what I mean? And so I go back and I say, okay, when was this law, when was the last time this federal law was updated? Oh, 2009. She updated her manual in 2012, you know, so there's no excuse for these, you know, little things.
I'm going to make sure here that I didn't miss much of anything. I'm sure I missed some things because
radios?
That weren't wrote down on here. Oh,
radios,
I did forget
tower.
something. I did forget something, and this is probably something that they got charged for. They have these huge TVs that they bought.
Yeah.
One of them was in the break room.
Yeah.
And Judd was mounting this thing, and the TV didn't work that he mounted. And Judd told me that he was putting in one screw and it just never tightened. I think the screw was too long, and he actually damaged the board
On the inside.
on the inside. And so they couldn't get anybody out there to actually look at it before I left. And but I have a feeling that he damaged it, and they're not going to warranty that. So that's another expensive mistake.
And if it's like the TV that's in the Rose Room A,
Well, they're probably like
it's
massively expensive.
it's big. I would say
It's
it's
huge.
over 50 inches. It's not 60.
I think they're 60s.
Yeah, and that's easy to do. I mean, it's not easy to do. I mean, there's screw holes, specifically, but whether.
But if he lost a couple screws and then just thought, oh, we'll just whip this screw
yeah,
in.
there you go.
Well, I'm not even sure if I'm sure they probably come with screws, but I mean, if it didn't tighten, that always kind of does this red flag, like, does it feel a little bit like it's binding, but it doesn't tighten? Yeah, you're probably going into that board and going, yeah.
Does it sound like fiberglass crunching,
Yeah,
maybe?
exactly. Yeah. So, let's take a look at
That
this
never
thing.
fails.
I mean, there's just tons of things. I'm sure if I went through my book here that has tons and tons and tons of pages,
Yeah.
because I was writing everything down because I had to make these reports, and these reports are supposed
It's
to.
nice handwriting.
Yeah, and these reports are supposed to be properly documented.
Of your work time, what you perform, how much time did you spend on it? Now, see, in the military, we had to do it on paper, but we got to computers, so I could log in under my PIN number
Yeah.
and put in my time and.
And it's all separated by other stuff that had to be done around there, or if it was work for the building.
Yeah.
Their stuff was not separated, and it was just all put down 8 hours working in the building.
Nothing's separated in there. Even there's supposed to be different accounts for different funding. That way when you pay for vehicles out of this fund, it's all so you don't get things confused. All the different funds, which all fall under different things, are supposed to be separate. Well, I didn't like that. She wanted all the money in one thing, so nobody can track what money you are using for that particular project. And so right now I know there's a Jeff Lauderdale, has been trying to get the board members to go to the Island County Treasurer, previous one, has volunteered at no charge to fix all the accounts for Island Transit, separate them and put them the way that they're supposed to. And still, the board of directors for Island Transit are just like, yeah, whatever. And so they're still not moving forward fast enough. Not fast enough for me.
Yeah, it's going to be I don't understand why they, I don't understand why they need those vehicles. A lot of people, I mean, they should have like a couple of company cars that just sit there, and people should use their personal cars to drive back and forth to Island Transit. And when I worked,
take the bus.
Well, when I worked for, well, yeah, really. Well, when I worked for GM, if we had to do something off-site, we just they had cars for us, and we grabbed the car then. If we were going from one site to another.
Yeah.
If
that's official use only.
If you're driving to work, that's not official use. Or going to the grocery store, or going to a soccer game, or anything else.
Or going to the movie theater off island,
Which I'm glad to hear that Gary did the right thing and turned his car in.
He turned in his Prius. I don't know when, but I understand he turned it in. So that may be why, because the individual that I posted the pictures on for the Prius that was unmarked, actually on the rolling stock on the inventory, her name was actually already attached to a different one. I don't remember if it was a 2002, but she was already, her name was already assigned to a different Prius, and so the one that I had taken, so I had my friend Cliff kind of go through stuff and.
Well, there are people there that have company cars that I'm like, why do they need a company car? I mean, there's a road support lady that has a company car, and I will not mention who it is, but she has a company car, and what does she need a company car for? I mean, just get your own damn car and drive back and forth to work. I mean, if you have to pay mileage on it, which is what you're supposed to do, it probably costs you more.
Well, no, I mean, I would think that it would be easier if it doesn't happen often. You know, if you got to bring your kids to school or something, they're sick, or, you know, something like that. You should, it would be easier to drive your own car and then claim, write out a claim, you know.
Yeah, if you...
For other times.
I mean, I can see if your car dies or something that's in the shop.
Yeah.
You know, but write down the mileage and pay the mileage.
But not when you show up every week to coach child soccer games.
Yeah, that's not official business.
When it is one complaint after another complaint
That's another
complaint.
That's another thing is Gary would leave early.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
a lot. You know, because of those games.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, cool. Well, you're leaving, huh? Okay. Well, Martha doesn't like it, but she agreed to it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
What'd you have to do for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're
And it's like, I mean, that's cool that he's involved in the games with his daughter and everything, but it's like...
kudos for that.
Yeah. And that's cool, but it's like, but don't give me a dirty look if I want to do something with my grandson on the weekend.
Yeah, yeah. And don't use your official use only Prius. It's not marked in accordance with RCW 49. You know, but that
I never got a company car the whole time I was there. I never even got a phone. And you know, I can buy my own darn phone and I can use my own darn car as far as I'm concerned. I think that's ridiculous.
Well, and I'm gathering, and this is just a shot in the dark, that
I mean, they're getting paid well. You don't need these other perks.
No, but on top of that, they have not been claiming those perks, the benefits of a take-home vehicle, as per the state auditor's office. That was actually a finding on an audit, was that W-2s were checked, and none of these people were complying with the IRS and W-2 for a take-home vehicle. And I'm guaranteeing you, if it wasn't done then, they're not doing it now. But what I really like is that when I go into Island Transit meetings, I have a little book like yours.
Yeah.
I have to keep notes in and write stuff. And I like to write little notes to Gary and leave my book open for him so he can read them and say, hey, Gmail Gary, when's the last time you filled out a W-2?
Yeah, time to see H&R Block, I guess.
Yeah. But it's just what the staff there believes that they can still continue to get away with. And I will often make the comment that
I mean, people
the place is still being ruled by Martha Rose, and people are, no, she's gone, no, she's gone. I'm like, she's out of the building. She still has her thumb on the pulse of that place, you know, and there's still, she has a lot of,
well, she's probably still inviting them all over for parties and stuff.
Well, you know, she called Gmail Gary over at 2 o'clock in the morning to come over there and, you know, drink with her. Talk about info technology.
2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure if crap like that.
Was that after she was gone?
I know it was before, and I don't know about after. It could be, but I don't know. You know, I'm not sure on that.
All right.
But to know that, you know, and why do you think he got a divorce? Was it because he was being called over to Martha's every night at 2 a.m., or was it because he was doing a subordinate?
Well, see, I think that whole...
Who was fired?
Well, I think that was totally wrong. Gary should have lost his job over that.
As a superior? He damn well should have.
Yeah. And at that time, he was her boss at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's,
I figured there was something going on between those two.
Yeah. Well, what gets me also besides that, I mean,
but,
she was fired, he wasn't. But then when he went into Martha's office to say, you really should hire her back, you know, or whatever he went in there and cried to Martha about, she was like, you have got to be kidding me. Get out. You know? She fired his girlfriend and now he's going in there and asked, so yeah, that didn't go over so well.
Well, it's a lucky, he's lucky.
I know.
He's lucky he's still there. Right. He should have kept his head down.
She is really fond of him that he's still there through that.
Yeah, you know, I'd be like, oh, not looking a gift horse in the mouth on that one.
Yeah.
Because I would fully expect that if I did something like that, I'd be fired.
Oh yeah.
You know, do something like that and get caught.
Well, and then not only that, but one of the other things that interests me is info technology falls under operations. So of course, Gary and Judd's boss Sean Harris. For a time there, Martha took IT department, moved it out from underneath operations management, and made them their own little thing, which is illegal. But then she like moved it back again, or somebody moved it back here not too far recently. So it's all this playing around and all that good fun stuff.
Yeah, my dog's excited. Somebody here.
Is it from you?
Well, I think it's Suzanne, my next door neighbor. Yeah.
I don't think we have anything else.
I'm not sure. We've probably done almost everything I could think of right at the moment, but.
Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna pause here real quick. We can always get back to it if we need to. And then, oh, Sylvia's here. And then I'm gonna go.